aka Tiny T, and today we are making a drum roll. We are making lobster. Yes, I said it, lobster. So I'm making lobster tails, and along with the lobster tails, I am going to cook some red lobster biscuits. I mean, why not, right? Why not? And then I am going to cook some clam chowder soup on the side with some pasta. So hopefully this dish comes out really well. I am cooking dinner for my parents. Just wanted to treat them to something a little special. I mean, they do a lot for me. They've done a lot for me, so I mean, why not? So that is that. Everything is not cooked from scratch, but it's still gonna be a really good dish. And yeah, so let's hop into it. All right, you guys, so actually cooking lobster tails doesn't even take that long. It cooks about 7 to 10 minutes on average to cook lobster tails. The longer you cook it, obviously, the tougher that it gets. And lobster tails are very, very like tender. It's a very delicate type of meat. So you don't want to cook it too long because then you will dry it out and then you'll have super dry lobster tails. And lobster tails are not cheap, you guys. So if this is your first time making it, then stay tuned. This is actually not my first time making it, but my second time. I'm doing a recording over again because I made them for the first time last year, never posted my video. So I'm gonna recreate the video this time around. And I was really nervous the first time I made it, and I was like, I hope I don't mess this up because lobster tails aren't, you know, cheap. But it actually came out really, really good. It was very simple. So anyways, let's get to it. I'm gonna explain how we're gonna cook this food today and what ingredients that you'll need to make this exact meal. So we're gonna start off with our biscuits from the lobster, and you are going to need some cheddar cheese to go with the biscuits. It has it on the box. This is obviously not from scratch. I don't know how to make these from scratch, so cheddar cheese. Also, you are going to need a cup of cold water, 3 cups actually. This is 3/4 cup of cold water. And then it comes with a pouch of Cheddar Bay biscuit mixed inside. So that's cool. And then you need 1/4 cup of butter. And it also comes with another pouch of seasoning, and that's the garlic herb blend. So pretty much everything that you need to make these biscuits are inside the box, but you are going to need water, cheddar cheese, and butter. So we're starting off with the biscuits first, just because it's the only thing that's gonna take the longest, and I can cook everything else while I am making the biscuits. So I already put in our mitts inside of the pot. And then next, it says that we need to add, so the water, cheese, and the biscuit mitts all go together. And we're going to mix it up until the dough forms. This is not to over mix it. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. So the cheese, we need 1/2 cup of cheese. I'm gonna just dump it in. 3/4 cups of water. And our dough. And the dough is already in there. So now we're just gonna start mixing it up. I started mixing the batter for the biscuits or the dough, whatever you wanna call it. And it's very thick. I guess that's good because it's biscuits, right? But it says not to over stir or over mix. So I am just using a spoon. I guess I could use like a batter mixer, but I decided not to just because I didn't want to like over stir it, and it's not that type of deal. Maybe I'll try it again next time, but oh, I think it's coming out pretty well. It's looking like actual dough. I gotta figure out a way where you guys can watch me do my thing on here and show you what I'm doing like very close up, if that makes sense. Gotta work on that. So before we start anything, you want to make sure you put your oven on at 425. You are going to preheat your oven so that it can be ready for your biscuits, because we are making biscuits to go with our meal, like I mentioned earlier. And then next, you want to make sure you have some olive oil to make sure that your pan is ready for your biscuits and the dough doesn't stick to your pan. Drizzle the pan with some olive oil. If you don't have olive oil and you have like just regular vegetable oil, that's fine. Spray oil, canola oil, honestly, it doesn't matter because we're just greasing up the pan so that we don't have a sticky situation going on. But honestly, I probably didn't even need to use this because it's a non-stick pan and I don't know why I just greased it. But for those of you who need it, make sure you put it on for your biscuits. I guess, I don't know for sure, my biscuits are not gonna stick. All we're gonna do is just form our dough into balls, and I guess I'll show you guys a little bit of how I am actually forming the balls so that you can have perfect balls for your biscuits to come out great. So I honestly am not doing much. All I'm doing is just rolling the dough. And there we go. Gonna put it onto our pan. The bot says that you can make about, how many biscuits can we make? What? I don't even see. Okay, you can make 10 biscuits. That's what it says, 10. So we'll see. So just keep rolling and rolling till you feel like it's perfect. Honestly, feel like it's fine. I mean, it's eventually gonna flatten out anyway, so it doesn't really matter how perfect you get it. But make sure you have a decent ball, and then just keep doing that so that you can have a decent size of biscuits and a good amount. So I'm gonna keep forming the rest of them until we have 10. I finished forming all of the balls for our biscuits. Don't they look good? Oh, look at that. Look at that. I just eyed it. Look at that, y'all. Okay, I don't know why I'm talking like that. But anyways, now they're ready for the oven, so we're gonna put them in. And then it looks like the next step is to let it cook for about 14 to 16 minutes. Now my oven does cook very, very quickly, I feel like, and it's super hot. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I'm gonna put it on for like 10 minutes and then, you know, periodically check it while I'm cooking the other stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna let it do its thing for a little bit, and then we'll finish it off by putting the butter and the seasoning that comes in the box on top of it. So let's put it in the oven. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm so excited, you guys are ready for these biscuits. All right, so hopefully you guys can see me. I think this is a little better, my setup. I should do it like this more often, so you guys can see everything that's going on a little closer. So I got myself a pan and filled it up with some water and just defrosted the lobster. So now that it's defrosted, I'm going to cut the lobster in half, and then I'll show you guys how to do that. All right, you guys, I'm so excited. So I'm still prepping and preparing the lobster just because I did think that it needed to be thawed out a little bit more. So I just warmed up a hot bowl of water and just let it sit there. Timer just went off. So I'm gonna hurry up and take these biscuits out before they get jacked up. Oh my goodness, you guys, look at that. Look at that. So I'm gonna hurry up and take them out, and next I will be adding the seasoning that's inside of the bots with the butter, and then they will come out perfect. So the instructions say to cut 1/4 cup of butter. Does it say 1/4 cup of butter? Yes, 1/4 cup of butter, and to melt it in the microwave, and then you'll add your seasoning. So I'm gonna melt the butter right now in the microwave. So I put the butter in for about 45 seconds, and right now all I am doing is just cutting the skeleton of the lobster. Now I knew that lobsters had hard shells, so I guess that's an indication that they have a skeleton, but who has actually seen a skeleton of a lobster? It's actually pretty cool. So what you do is just you literally cut it from the back all the way to the tail, and then what you're going to do after you cut it to the tail is literally separate the skeleton. Because you want to see the meat. Right? And you want the meat to cook, obviously. And like I said, you don't have to cook this very long because Lobster doesn't take that long to cook. So essentially, lobster is usually, oh, I cut some of the inside, but it's all good. Lobster tails usually are brown when you first get it. So you're definitely gonna know what it looks like when it's done, or how it's supposed to look like when it's done. So you can see, look at that. It's brown, the shell, right? You wanna cook it pretty much until the shell like turns a bright red. That doesn't mean necessarily that it's done, but it's an indication that it could be done. Now I did put the meat inside of some warm water, so the meat probably already cooked a little bit. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So I'm just gonna let it sear a little on the pan with some butter, and then I'm gonna put some seasonings into it, but I'm not gonna even cook it that high, just because I don't wanna mess up the lobster tails. But you flip over the lobster tail and you cut the back till you get to the end of the tail, and then you literally do the same on the front side. And if it's kind of hard to separate the meat from the shell, then you can use your fingers or use a knife to separate your meat from your shell, because sometimes it can kind of stick to the shell. But yeah, it looks like it's turning out pretty well. I'm gonna cut it just a little bit more so you guys can get a better look of it. And you just separate it until you feel like, I guess, you're satisfied. The more you can see, I guess it's better for you, because you know if it's actually done or not. So this has a little bit of like, I don't know what that is. I don't like how that looks. I cut it off. But yeah. So this is what your lobster tails would look like. I'm gonna put it on to the pan, and then we're gonna do the other two, because I'm making two each for my parents. Again, I'm just separating the meat from the shell, because you want to see your meat, and obviously that's the part that's actually cooking, not so much the shell itself. I'm gonna show you again. You start literally at the top and you try to get just the shell, the skeleton portion. Try not to get the meat, but if you do, I mean, it's fine, it's still edible. And then you just cut it straight down the center. See, start it from top, and you cut it all the way till you get down to the center at the bottom of the tail, and then you do the same thing up top. This one might be a little hard to do just because you see how the shell is shaped. It's kind of a hump shape, but it's all good. I don't know if you can see, the shells are already cracked a little. All right, and you cut it till you get to the tail, the tip of the tail, and then you want to separate it. So now we're gonna do the same thing and separate the meat from the shell. And like I said, it doesn't take that long to make lobster. It takes about 7 to 10 minutes. You'll honestly will know really when your shell turns from brown to pinkish color, and to when your meat turns red. The portion that is brown will turn red. All right, so there we go, and it's all ready. Now I'm gonna season our lobster, and then put some butter in the pan and let it do its thing, and then put the top over it. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when I'm doing all this. Well, I told you I was going to show you what I'm going to do next. So I'm literally just putting a little bit of pepper on it. I put like 3 dashes on each one. Honestly, I didn't put that much. I'll put my seasoning all the way down. I'm just going to use my finger so I don't over season it. Now we're going to add some garlic onto it. You don't need a lot of seasoning for lobster, honestly, because it has, I don't know, it just has a very distinctive taste to it already. And because it's so tender, the seasonings that you put on it is gonna make it taste absolutely better. So you don't want to do too much, overdo it. So I seasoned it. This is what it looks like. I put I put garlic powder, pepper, and then now I'm gonna do the parsley on top. Doesn't that look beautiful, you guys? Oh, snaps. Okay. Okay, so now let's get those biscuits all buttered up. I already put my butter in the microwave like I told you, and it's melted, it's hot, it's ready, and the biscuits are hot as well. So let's do it while it's still hot, and here we go. The biscuits have been out for about like maybe 5 minutes while I was prepping our lobster tails, and the butter is still hot. Yeah, I can feel it, it's still hot. So now we're gonna put in our garlic herb seasoning, and we're gonna stir it up. Pour it all over. Oh, you guys, oh my goodness. These biscuits just look so good. It says to pour it over, right? I'm like, does it say? About 1 teaspoon on each one. I'm honestly just eyeing it. If you're a person who likes to follow the instructions exactly for the biscuits, or when you're baking whatever, go ahead, do what you do. I want them to be like, man, did you buy these from Red Lobster? And I can be like, yeah, I did. Just kidding. Now I'm gonna tell them I made it. Obviously, it's not me though. I'm following the instructions on the box. Okay, so I'm gonna put these back in the oven so they can stay warm. But this is what they look like. Oh my goodness, you guys. All right, so now I am checking the pan. Oh, this is perfect, you guys. They don't have to be this red, but honestly, this looks perfect to me. It has like a little bit of hint of brown on it, but for the most part, it's red. That means that the lobster is done. It's a really good indication that it is, at least. And then if you look inside, you see how the meat is still red. I don't know if you guys can see, but yeah, it's definitely done. I am going to put the soup on for the clam chowder soup I'm making. Obviously it's from the can, so there's really not much to it. The can says that you can cook it from about 3 to 4 minutes. No, it says 2 to 4 minutes. I usually put it on for about 3 because it's usually hot by then. So I'm gonna put it on for 3 minutes, and while this is cooking for 3 minutes, I am going to use some leftover pasta I made about like 2 days ago. So I'm gonna put that on the stove top with some spinach and some Alfredo sauce, and add some garlic and some Parmesan cheese to it, and then dinner is served. Next, we are putting some spinach in. I just rinsed it off. Don't be shy with it, honestly. Spinach, veggies are good. We have carbs in this meal, so we want to make sure that we also have some vitamins, some protein, because you know you get protein with your spinach when you cook it, and some veggies. So now I am going to add our pasta. Oh yeah. Okay. And for this, it's very simple. I don't want to do too much, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of garlic powder and some parsley. And now just gonna put it on the stove. Our soup is definitely ready. It's steaming hot. I'm going to start off with some pepper. Some parsley. And I am going to put this in my hand and show you how much I'm putting in. This is how much salt I have. This might look like it's a lot, but honestly it's not. It's going in the entire bowl. Stir it up. There we go. I'm gonna try it because I'm very confident that it came out right. But this is what the soup looks like. All right, and then now, last but not least, our spinach and our Alfredo sauce is already on the pan. It's starting to get hot. As long as it's done by 8 o'clock, it should be good. And then I'm just gonna drop it off and come back here. I had myself some fried rice and some veggies earlier for lunch. For dinner, I have some leftover rice. And I have some leftover steak, I believe. I made some like Mongolian style type of steak, so I'll probably just eat that. But yeah, there we go. Now I'm gonna add our noodles that I cooked the other day. So I added the leftover angel hair pasta that I cooked the other day. Like I've always said on this channel, I don't like to waste food, and I do a lot of meal prepping, so a lot of times I'll have like a side made, or I don't know, just like a main, I guess, meal or a dish, a main meat made or something, and I can just mix whatever I made. So like I might have pasta, rice, and then some chicken, and there's a lot that you can do with that. And as you see, I have spinach inside of the pasta, so I mean you can make salad, pasta, stir fry. Honestly, I feel like it's limitless what you can do with food. So yeah, that's just a little bit of me talking, but it looks like it's pretty much done. I just want to make sure that the noodles are warmed up, not really cooked, because they're already cooked. Now I'm gonna add the last ingredient, and that is our cheese. So I might add a little bit, but I think I'm just gonna save putting the cheese on for when I go there and give it to them in a container or something, so they can just add on how much cheese they want. Add just a little bit of cheese on top, and then I'll save the rest for them to garnish on themselves. But there we go. So you guys, everything is done. These are the biscuits. It's the soup and the pasta, and last but not least, the lobster. Oh my goodness, yes, that looks so good. Lobster tails. All right, so hopefully this still gets to their place hot and fresh and ready to eat, and they don't really have to do any warming up. Oh, there's just a piece of lobster, like meat, that fell off, and it was in the pan.
Yeah, ho, holla, this that wah, that good, yeah.
Yeah, hope. Got that. Okay, I need to stop. Alright, so next are the biscuits. 2 should be enough, right? I'll probably pack through some extra ones because I'm sure they're gonna want more for later, you know. And then gonna add our pasta. I'm going to save that for a container for them to put in their type of bowls, because I don't have any like small bowls for me to put it in. This would be a perfect time for me to have like small soup bowls, but I don't have any. But you guys, look at that. Like, you cannot tell me that this doesn't look scrumptious. Oh my goodness, like I'm so proud of myself, and I'm not even eating this. Yeah, but this looks so good. You cannot tell me that this does not look good, you guys. So that's both of the plates. Yes, dinner is served. Yes, dinner is ready. So I'm just gonna pack it up inside of some aluminum foil and then take it there.